6. You know what? We have photos and a thing to show.
Okay.
We ain't about family
We
here.
have a panel with a movie and stuff. Christopher Berkeley, co-director.
Hi, how you doing?
Yes.
Thank you.
God. So you probably directed one of the more ambitious, like DC animated films recently. We're talking about Batman in a horror-scape.
Yes. Yes.
So, I mean, when you got this project, did you jump at it, or did you look at it and go, what?
It was interesting because, honestly, I'd read the comic before this was even in the plans of making into a movie. And the comic was like, oh, this is interesting. Okay, cool. And me, myself, like reading the book, I was a little confused in it because I wasn't as knowledgeable about a lot of Cthulhu-ish, Lovecraftian stuff at that time. But it kind of gatewayed me a little bit into learning some of that stuff. So when the project came up, I was like, But then I read the script, I was like, oh, okay, this is gonna be fun. And in the horror aspect, just made it much more interesting to work on. Especially like sort of trying to build toward a finale. It made it a much more sort of pleasurable filmmaking experience.
Okay.
Because it's like, I'm building towards this, and then I have to resolve it into that. And it's like, so it was very fun, very interesting project to work on.
Nice.
So, since you're co-directing, yes. How did you guys separate who's doing what?
Well, I came on the project, I don't want to say too late or later, but I guess I did. But again, having sort of knowledge of it, of the comic book at the time, we sort of split the duties. Like he kind of started working on it with the sort of with the board artist team, and he had already like worked on with the rewriting, I guess, the overall story versus the script of the comic book, and so that made it easier to sort of come in and sort of like, maybe we can sort of push it here, move it there. And a lot of times it was like because he kind of, since he could have sort of helped write it, he kind of helped build the ship. And me directorially, I was manning the sails and the rudder. And sometimes when there was no wind, I had to like, oars. And it's just me,
Right.
Kind of. So, but every now and then, he would come in or with me or steer the rudder, like if I'm doing something else. So that's, to use the analogy, like we're both sort of steering it and we're both working actively to try to get us from point A to point B. Because even when I got on board, like I said, like some things had already been done. Like, I think we should go this way, not that way. But if it worked, it's like, okay, if it's not broke, you don't try to fix it. That's my motto. But if it doesn't feel right, it's like you got to make it feel good. So that was kind of my job in the beginning, and then after that, when I got into the weeds with it. Once everything starts coming in, it's like, okay, all right, okay, what are we doing here? Oh, now it's a 2-hour-long movie. Got to cut some stuff out.
So just a lot of cutting to tone down the gore, something like that? To get it to PG-13?
Well, since there was a request that given to us from the get-go to make it PG-13, so that was kind of always on everyone's mind to sort of like, we kind of knew what the line was that we shouldn't cross. And a lot of times, because of knowing that there's a line that's there, some of our cinematic choices made it seem worse than it was. like sometimes if you hear somebody screaming versus show somebody why they're screaming, it becomes the rating gets worse. It's like, oh no, you know, or you just saw a splash of blood. It's like, oh, you know, if you time it just right, it's like, oh, that's what you mean. Oh, I'm scared. It's like, I didn't even show you anything. And it's like, yeah, I know you did your job too good. And it's like, okay, well, now you got to tone that down. Like, oh, I didn't show anything. So knowing that, it was just like and a lot of the stuff that I've already worked on, I'm sort of a student of TV animation, where you're not allowed to show a lot of, you know, gore or nudity or cursing or whatnot. To bring that point across, it's easier and almost a lot of times more effective when you don't have those things at your disposal. So with this, it's like, oh, you got this thing that's gonna come. It's like, yeah, but you can't do anything. It's like, I know how to get around that. I know how to get around that. And then we show it to people, they're like, ooh, that's too much. It's like, I didn't. So it's like, okay, you want me to show you then? It's like, I think that would be better if you just showed me. It's like, whatever. So it was interesting, sort of dancing on that balancing beam of quote unquote self-censorship.
Is there any chance for a director's cut of this film?
I guess there would be storyboards in it, but not final animation. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I need to see what was ultimately cut out of from the final picture, which would just might probably be like some extended scenes.
Okay. I thought I would ask. I'm not asking for a hashtag or anything.
But yeah, they would just be like storyboard animatics.
Okay.
Because there's quite a bit of things that were fun that were in there that we cut out. It's like, oh, you gotta cut it. And not for me, more so for Sam. I think there's one scene that I really wanted to keep in there, but Sam wanted to get rid of. And I wanted to cut a lot of scenes that Sam wanted to keep in.
That was going to be one of my questions.
Yeah.
So when you guys were cutting certain parts of the thing, did you guys have little squabbles about what you wanted to keep and what he wanted?
Yeah. It was like I said. There was one. I'm like, no, we just can't cut this. He's like, we need to cut your favorite thing. I'm like, okay, well, let's cut it then. Because I was beating him up like I was winning that fight. I'm like, nope, cut it. He's like,
Damn it.
Like it doesn't do anything. He's like, yeah, you're right, but I like it. I'm like, I know, I like it too, but I don't like it as much as you. So it was fun. Like our relationship is like that though, because for me, I know that like when it comes down to like the final product, it's like, okay, what are we doing here? It's like, okay, you know, we always call it our babies. You got to kill your babies, and I learned a long time ago that it's like to not have that many babies.
That's fair.
While making it, not have too many extra babies, so to speak. Because there's these things that you just try to want to put in there. Like, I want to do this thing that adds to this. Yeah. But Sam likes to like, oh, I'm gonna add this, and like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, it's cool. But now if we take that out, it happens faster.
Do you put something in that you know will get cut just so you can distract from something else that you think might get cut but you don't want to get cut?
Never. Myself, never. I know some people like to do that. They think I think that's that's the rookie mistake. Like, oh, look over here. Because ultimately, because you're still going to need that 3 seconds, which is still that thing that you want to keep in there, that you're trying to like distract people. Like, you know, this is like extra. I know it doesn't need to be in there, but like, I'm going to try to like hide it underneath the tablecloth, and it's like, you know, just sticking up like this. Like, what's under there? Oh, no, that's just a bump in the table underneath. It's like, when it's like, oh, don't please. Like that, see now? So now you can see the
With the reorganization within Warner Brothers and DC Studios now doing their own animated stuff, have you heard anything about the future of these Warner Brother animation, DC Universe originals?
Ooh, the original stuff.
Yeah, like the stuff that you guys are doing versus the stuff that Gunn is doing.
Yeah. I haven't heard anything. Because honestly, I kind of don't pay attention to that stuff myself personally. I enjoy being the gunslinger. Yeah. It's like, set them up, I'll shoot them down. Versus the inner politicking. So, which is, I think that's where it's kind of at with that right now. Because it seems like some of it's kind of, because I think the cinematic universe is, I think they might be trying to, I don't know. Because I just don't. I would like to hope that some new things are coming around, but it doesn't. I don't see them on the horizon right now. There are some interesting things that are going to pop up. I mean, I guess Gunn mentioned the Creature
Commandos.
Yeah, Creature Commandos.
Which Sam is working on.
Yeah, I'll be on that as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, cool. And but outside of like things like are based off of comic books, like current comic books, it doesn't seem like that's a thing right now, or it doesn't have as much importance. It doesn't seem. Or maybe it does. Like I said, I haven't really been paying attention. But we'll see. I mean, I like these things, so hopefully there is one.
Just to bounce off this question, have you heard anything about the other Justice League coming back? Because
That was going to be my next question. Thank you.
Yeah, because I know the regime canceled it, but now we got this new one.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you might have heard like they might be bringing it back or something. 'Cause
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, well, having directed on that as well. Yeah, I haven't heard anything. I have no idea. Yeah. Man, that's another panel. It's like that's the one thing I'm like I don't want to talk about because it's like oh my gosh, because that show is a beast to work on. It's like behind the scenes of Young Justice. It's very ambitious. It's always been an ambitious show, and I mean it's. I can only juggle with two hands. Like, why I gotta take off my shoes? but it's because of the audience for it is what makes it worthwhile. So yeah, it would be cool to do it. So they're taking pictures. I gotta go. Yeah. So yeah, I think I gotta go.
I think they're ready to cut you off.
Yeah.
Keep popping up.
Yeah, I know Gary did.
Thank you.
Thanks, you guys.
All right, thanks.